Oh. Oh. Now, baby, you gotta trust me on this. You gotta pretend like this camera doesn't even exist. The camera is filming, but you gotta pretend like it doesn't exist, because once you become self-conscious of the camera filming you, then our value decreases. See, what we're selling is the what we're selling is the unself-conscious sexuality of a woman in robes. So, baby, I need you to pretend that this camera's not here. This camera right here is not here. Okay. So what do you need me to do first? It's cold in here. It's cold. Well, what I need you to do is you need to sit there and look. You need to sit there and look pretty for the camera that is not there. Because you gotta remember that the people who are watching you right now, baby, they don't really care about you. And I know that sounds harsh, but this is just the reality that we're selling to our audience, that they don't care. Well, I don't know, I think that might be putting a little bit harsh. When you look at the camera, and you gotta do two things when you look at this camera. You have to pretend that the camera is not on. You have to pretend that nobody's watching you. So I'll give you a demonstration. So right now, I'm pretending that nobody's watching me. But because what we're doing is we're selling your innocence. You sexualized innocence. So what we want to do is create the illusion that nobody is watching you, but this is how we say it. This is it. Nobody is watching you, but you are being seen. So your sexualized innocence is being seen, but nobody is watching you. See, baby, this is how we get them. This is how we do it. So I want you to look at the camera, but there's nobody watching you yet. You are being seen like this. Is this right? I can feel it a little bit. That's right, baby. That's right. It's the sexualized innocence. The sexualized innocence where you are an object. See, what we're doing is we're taking the objectification of the woman. The objectification of the sexualized innocence of the woman. And we are subjectifying it ever so slightly. Because what we want to do is we want to get everybody in a conundrum. What we're doing in this dream society is getting everybody in a conundrum. We're basically putting their desires at odds. We're putting it at odds. Because when someone is going to consume our video, baby, they're not going to know what to do with themselves. They're going to have, see what it is with the people these days, they have all these layers inside them. Is that not right, Ralph? They have all these layers inside them that are in conflict. And you are going to be there like so. And because you are so radiant and so voluptuous, but you're also very innocent and pure. See, I don't even like that. That sounds sexist to me. All right, baby, but that is what I'm getting at. No, that is sexist. Well, that's what we're selling. That's what we want people to get all tangled up about, because you and I know that you can be pure and sexual at the same time, but the people who are consuming this video, they don't know that. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of get it all convoluted, right? You are going to send the mixed signals, the mixed messages to the audience just by being you. So when we do the shibari and we wrap you up in the ropes, you're going to be innocent, you're going to be sexual, you're going to be trapped, and you're going to be free, and people are just going to watch that for hours, baby. They're going to watch that, and they're not going to know what to do with themselves, because one aspect you got to tone it down. You need to tone that down. All right. I'm going to tone it down. One aspect of it. One layer of the people, of the audience, well, of the person who, Ralph, I'm getting a little lost in my own thoughts here. One aspect of the audience, one aspect of the person is watching you here, and there's a little bit of flesh showing through this section of the ropes, and they're going to think, okay, well, this is really just a sexist charade, right? This is all sexism. Look at how this entertainment is exploiting this young woman who is very pure, and is showing one aspect of her shoulder, and that is very sexual, and that is very sexist, because what they're trying to do is monetize a woman sitting in a room showing one aspect of her skin through the shibari rope, and that is fucked up. Now the other layer of the consumer, we're talking about one person here. The other layer of the consumer is getting aroused by that patch of skin in this pure maiden who is exuding her sexuality. And that is what I'm saying is sexist. No, it's sexist, baby, when you think that it's sexist. See, you are just like the consumer out there. You're divided in yourself. You want to be sexual, and you want to be pure, and then one part of you, the pure part is judging the sexual part, and the sexual part is just saying, I just want to be free. Right? Am I right? Am I right? And that's the whole shibari thing. This is the ropes on you. So when you're pretending that camera's not there, you are actually the consumer consuming you. Right there, right now. So you need to be in that moment, baby. When you realize that there is no consumer, you are the consumer, you're conflicted against yourself. Part of you is like, I'm pure. And part of you is like, oh, I'm so sexual. And that conflict that you feel inside yourself, the sexism toward yourself, is what we're selling in the Dream Society, right here. And what I'm saying to you is that is all very sexist. That's sexist. That you would use my conflict inside me to sell. Well, yeah. Okay, but then we step outside of that, which is true. Okay. All right. Ralph, you're holding the space here. You're my best man on this. Am I out of line here or not? Because what I'm saying is that there's always the possibility to get meta on what we're doing. And the meta perspective on what we're doing is how we monetize. Right? So every conflict We get above the conflict, and then we put a price tag on the conflict, and that's the commodity. That's what we're selling in the dream society, because you got to remember, baby, that even though you feel victimized in this, and you're feeling hypersexualized and, puritanical and virginal and maidenhead and all that good stuff, what we're doing here is we're essentially selling a product to the people who are on the other end of that camera. And so they need to be titillated with all of the dreams that we can come up with through, Ralph, through our meta perspectivizing. So right now, for example, I'm going to give you a perfect example. The camera is on, but it is not on. Now, we do both of those at the same time. The camera is on, and it is not on. People are watching, but they're not watching. No one's on the other end of that camera, baby. No one cares that you are exploiting self-directed sexism toward yourself. They consume that shit. They eat that shit up because they're fucking bored. Right? What self-respecting human being would be sitting at a computer screen or a phone screen or whatever it is and watching us? You have got to sell the dream. You have to get meta with the images, meta with the issues, meta with the controversy, meta with the psychological abuse, meta with the spiritual concerns, meta with every political crisis. You have got to sell the dream upon the nightmare within the dream that is the nightmare of the dream that is all illusion. Help me out here, Ralph. Am I onto something or not? You know how I am. I think you're, yeah, man, I think, usually when you have me confused, I think that you're usually onto something when you have me confused. Yeah, you may be onto something this time. Okay, so what we have established is that you're going to be here in the center of the room. You're going to have some clothes on, but they're going to be a little bit torn to the side, and so the shibari is going to be all across your chest, ropes here, hands tied behind your back, a little bit of flesh here. And so what we're going to do, baby, is you're just going to, again, the camera is not on, the camera is on. You're having a moment to yourself here in the center of the room, and you are titillating your own shoulder, baby. Are you listening to me? I just told you how we're going to do this. You're titillating your shoulder, sweetie. And maybe we're going to put a little bit of oil on it. And you're not even sure. And this is where we really draw them in. You're not sure about the relationship to your own shoulder. It's like you're discovering your shoulder for the first time. Now the reason, the way that we pull people in here is we think about it from purely demographic perspective and logistically. How many human beings are at home right now? I'm going to show you what I mean, sweetie. How many humans are at home right now with this going on? They're there. Maybe they're looking at a self-reflective surface. The camera's on. Maybe they will show this on social media. Maybe they won't. And it's, I don't know, it's just, and they're there and they're taking a moment. They don't even know what their relationship is to their shoulder. I have friends who are so dissociated from their body that they take baths for hours in the morning just to get in touch. I don't even know what they're doing in the bathtub. Maybe it's this. Are you saying that I do not have a relationship with my body and that I need to have a relationship with my body because, I'm a woman? And this shoulder and this shoulder, developed a relationship with these shoulders a long time ago. Before you and your sexist escapades where you're trying to monetize my body for the sake of profit. Okay, we'll do it. But I have a few questions for you first. What are my royalties and what are my commissions and what do I get out of this? Well, that depends, sweetie. That depends. Ralph, have you run the numbers on this? That's a no. So, what I'm thinking is we need to generate a lot of controversy to get the views, right? So somehow we have to stay within the circumference of our initial idea, but then take it a little bit beyond the pale according to our own standards. See, the thing about an edge in the dream society, every edge that you create, in this case, the dynamic between sexuality and purity, every dynamic has to have a sustainable edge that you push through the trajectory of time. Okay, and this is how you grow your client base, your viewer base, all of it. People need to understand that there's a path. We're walking the path, and they're going to want to walk it together because they don't have a path of themselves for themselves, right? So when we lock you up in a room and we put the ropes on you, that is a spiritual path, essentially, for people who don't have a path in this dream society. Because that's what we're monetizing, is a way of being. And so the people who are at a loss for their own way of being, they're going to tune in and watch you discover your body piece by piece by piece and this is going to be our edge, sweetie. This is where you come in, and this is your artistic prerogative, really. So when you're like this, and you're discovering your shoulder for the first time, and you're feeling the conflict inside yourself, the war. See, I really need you to sell it. The war between your own purity and sexuality. And the fact that you're even here in this moment. It's just a sexist situation. Monetizing the conflict that you feel inside of yourself, so that you can get viewers on YouTube. So there's so many conflicts in the dream society, so many stories that we can sell. We just have to stay ahead of our own curve. Here's a story. And here's a conflict about that story. And then another conflict about that story. And a conflict about selling all these conflicts. And fabricating one illusion after another. For people who are lost. Don't know their way. If we can entrance them with our own conflict, they'll forget the central conflict of their lives. But we have to be a little bit more modest about it. We show a little bit at a time. A little more sunlight. And then we bring it back in. We charge for this package. Make it deluxe, premium. And then we bring it back in. That's how we do it. So you're okay with it? Do you still think it's sexist? Oh, fuck yeah, it's sexist. You're a fucking sexist, misogynist pig. But that's okay. Because it will be your own undoing. You think this is authentic? Monetizing my mediocrity? Hooking people into these stories? You got a point, man. I mean, today, I don't think I've seen you this inspired. I think you got a point, too. People don't even know what they want, man. That's okay. You give them something and then they just start eating because they're so hungry. People don't understand that we are always consuming. Well, a lot of people understand that we're always consuming. But they don't understand that they're consuming. The idea that we're consuming, you know. Ralph, that was pretty deep. Well, I've been watching you for a long time. I've been wondering about my life too. Whether it's in my best interest to continue in this line of work. But I can't see anything other than what we're doing. I got mouths to feed. My wife gets pissed off at me. She's at home cutting carrots. I walk through the front door, she raises a knife at me and says, "Where have you been? You been with that guy again?" By that guy, she means you, Mark. Now, if you think about it appropriately, that's a sign of disrespect on my wife's part because we've been best friends for so long. She should know your name. She knows your name. But at the same time, my wife is concerned for me because she knows you just keep me around. She knows that I know that you know that I'm not the brightest bulb in the shed. But you just keep me around to keep you grounded, which is cool, because the relationship is cool, because I need your energy too, because I don't have a lot of energy. I think this idea that you got with Claire is pretty cool. I think you tapped into something. What my concern is, really, is that we never escape sexism. That even if you think that you're being smarter than everybody, you're still exploiting sexism. I don't even care. I don't care. You're using my body. And you're using my conflict as a woman against me for the sake of your profit. That is not what I am doing completely. That is a lot of what I am doing. But you guys gotta realize, we can make so much money this way. We will never have to work again. All you have to do in the dream society is you have to study the currents and the trends. And then you find out what the controversy is that's eating people up, like Donald Trump and Kanye West. And then you get ahead of that, put a spin on it, and then you get millions of people looking at you. So what I have been doing is I've been studying social media and the mainstream news media, and I have been looking at the trends. Guys, I've been looking at how we can make millions of dollars and never have to work again. That's what I'm looking at. Because these people, they just want one dream after another. It doesn't have to be anything that's substantial. Right? If you think about it, what is the best food that we eat? It's not a simple food that we eat, because we get bored with simple food, guys. So, a sensual, sexual, pure maiden virgin in shibari pose at conflict with herself. That is ahead of the curve. That is way out there, man. That is intergalactic as far as I'm concerned, Ralph. Do you want to come home to your wife with a knife? Do you want to keep on going after the carrot that she's cutting on the counter? Being led the rest of your life? Or do you ask yourself, both of you, ask yourself this question. Do you want to lead or do you want to be led? Because what I'm doing is I'm taking our company to the next level. We're up-leveling, we're elevating. Tell me about this dream society, Mark. What do you see that we don't? What I'm seeing is just a lot of media. I'm seeing a lot of media. I'm seeing a lot of people. Right? You're seeing a lot of people? What does that mean? Well, what that means is, like 100 years ago, you didn't see a lot of people unless you were in the middle of a city. And, well, I'm just saying. What are you just saying? I'm saying that a lot of people. The dream society, okay, guys? The dream society is this. People are always on the move. They're on the move physically, but they're always on the move mentally. And they're always on the move emotionally. So what happens is we have to find a monetized version of incessant movement. If we can sell something that is part of the incessant movement of life, then we can make millions. But it's so sexist. Cherie, it is not sexist. Mark, my name is Clary. Yes, and you just called me Cherie. Yeah, because Cherie is French for my dear. No, because you meant to call me Clary. How do you even know what I meant to call you? See, that right there is sexist. No, you're sexist. No, that is sexist because you think that I was being sexist just because I'm a guy. You are being sexist. I'm not. I'm not. That's when a woman gets sexist against a man for thinking that he's sexist just because he's a man. And that's sexist. And that's what we're trying to monetize. Did you see what we just did there? Cherie Clary? Did you see the motion that we created right there? That's what we're going to put the price tag on. That's it. Ralph? Yeah, I saw what you just did there. But I want to ask you something, Mark. She's just going to be tied up in a rope. That's not a lot of motion. It's not motion, but it's emotion. And if you remember correctly, if you take a moment, E is how we used to designate the internet in the beginning days. Now it's I. Email. E initially, when the internet started, was for electronic mail. But then, when the internet took off, it became all iPod, iPhone. That took over, at least from the Apple perspective. We're going to go back to E. Emotion is motion. So even though Clary is sitting here still, the camera is on, but she is not. Sweetie, I just need you to understand that you're not going to be interacting with the camera as if the camera's on. You're going to be here. And this is what we're selling to the audience. You're going to be here as if you have been imprisoned in a dungeon. And you're going to die. There's a... What is that? No, I'm not... Do you know how... What you're doing there is you are selling the maiden in distress. Yes, that's right. I am. And it's going to be the maiden who's going to the firing squad. But none of that's going to happen. All of that is in your eyes. All of that is the emotion that you are emitting. The emotion, which is a form of motion. It's the vortex, it's the hurricane, it's the eye of the storm in your eye. Right here, you're waking up to your life that's about to end. And all you have in that final moment before your termination, all you have is this patch of skin. That's it. And you know how it works. You know, in that final moment before death, they show this. In that final moment before death, you will see the pink blossoms, the cherry blossoms, falling in the sky. So if you have to look at the camera, imagine the pink cherry blossoms coming down the screen. And maybe, Ralph, if you're up for it, you can actually add that. If I'm still working for you. Because what I'm seeing with you, Mark, is that you're never going to stop. You're going to keep finding a way to exploit what you're calling the dream society. You're not actually helping anybody, you're just making money for yourself. Have you ever thought where this is going? Yes, I have thought about it. But what I've got to say is that the obstacle is the way. So what you've just articulated here, if I may reframe it, is that you're saying we are facing the moral predicament of monetization of illusion in the dream society. And that from a moral standpoint, we're fucking humanity. Is that what I'm saying? Seeing? That's correct. So just from a moral standpoint, this might be our last job together. Just from a moral standpoint. Are you fucking with me right now? Because if you're fucking with me right now, that's good. We could use that. I don't think you are fucking with me though. See, you guys, I don't know if you're doing this on purpose, but I feel like I'm in between you two. You, Clary, are all concerned about this sexism thing. And what I'm trying to tell you is that we're going to use that for our benefit. And even though that itself might seem sexist, we're going to be millionaires. Because I've studied the trends, you know? And so we're going to take that hit. Do you know what I mean? We're going to take that hit. And if we can just take that hit, we'll be set for life. And I think if you can be set for life, then you can, once, you can compromise. Okay? You can compromise your integrity once if you're going to be set for life. And for you, Ralph, I don't think you even get that. But what I think you were saying is that you're looking, which is a surprise. I got to be straight with you. And the 25 years that we've worked together, I have never seen you take this approach. But what you're saying to me is you're looking at the long-term effects of compromising our integrity to set ourselves up for life. But that's your mistake. That is your mistake, because what we're doing right here, we don't even have to look at it in the context of a big picture. We have a choice. Yeah, you got a choice to be a douchebag. What if everybody does what you do? You thought about that? What if everybody says, oh, we will compromise our integrity to make $1 million? Then everybody on the planet is compromising their integrity to make $1 million. That's correct. But not everybody is actually doing that. It's just, it's probably not just us three. But this, Ralph, what you're not getting in that Neanderthal brain of yours is that this is the dream society. You sell the story of a maiden in distress, in her shibari pose, awaiting execution, in conflict over her purity and her sexuality. And then you sell the conflict on top of that is that it's a sexist form of entertainment. And that is what keeps people in motion of their emotion in the internet. Do you follow me? We are inventors here. We are discovering a way to take humanity and the planet and all sentient beings into the next epoch of their unfolding, man. And Ralph, I would be really sad if this is where you get off the train. Because I don't think that you have been my right-hand man. I don't think that I can continue in my innovative, entrepreneurial, enterprising genius without you, man. You're not gonna leave just me and Clary here. Because after all, I mean, this is where you come in. This is where you come in. This is the cue for your entrance. You are the brawn in the operation. So you're just here. And the camera is rolling. Right? We got the camera right here. Okay? Now, like I was saying, Ralph, and I was telling this to Clary, you have to pretend that the camera is not there. That no one is watching you. Because when the performer has any sense that he or she is being viewed, there's this anticipation and it takes you out of the moment. You have to be completely present in the moment with this maiden in the distress. Because this is your conflict that we're selling to the audience. You know that she's innocent, that she's being victimized. She is being victimized for the sake of profit. We're exploiting her sexism, but the camera is not there and the camera is not rolling, Ralph. And you here are Mr. Hurly-burly. You're up here. How much do you weigh? I think you're about 350 pounds of pure muscle, and I respect that all. I know you've eaten a lot. You're here, and you're watching her. And because your face doesn't necessarily, suggest a lot of intelligence, what we're going to be able to do is see the moral conflict that's written all over your face. The emotion. So what we're doing is we're creating a lot of movement here by your stillness. Oh man, I could see it perfectly. This is what we're doing. Do you realize that even from a meta perspective, the conflict that we feel now as a triad of aspiring artists in the dream society, this is the motion that we're selling. This is the dream that we're selling. The dream must always continue to unfold. Whoever heard of a static dream? Whoever heard of a dream of ice? Whoever heard of a dream of conflict? So Ralph, I need you to stay on board. You're not getting off. And Cherie, Clary, whatever you want to be called, you have to realize that audience that does not exist is always going to feed off of the conflict of purity versus sexuality, of sexism itself. This is how we sell. And as far as the moral implications of exploiting conflict for the sake of cash in the dream society, what are these people going to be doing otherwise? If they had half a brain, they'd be doing what we're doing. But instead, they only have half a brain. Or a quarter of a brain, actually. They're going to consume the pseudo-conflict. They're going to consume the pseudo-conflict of this very insane dilemma that we're creating. Just now you saw what happened. We lost everything. We're going to have to start over. Everything. It was the saddest day of my life.